Hi mamas, my name is Corinne and this is my Modern Village where we talk about anything and everything that has to do with you and your little ones. So some of you may know by now, I did recently have a baby. Actually, it was 4 months ago now, so I'm going to do a 4-month postpartum check-in. So I'm going to kind of go over 4 different topics. I'm going to talk about sleeping. That seems to be the first thing everybody asks me is, oh, how's he sleeping? Well, we're going to talk about it. Then we're going to talk about just kind of everything that has to do with me and how I'm doing personally. So you can kind of have a baseline to sort of see how you're doing as well. Eating, because that's a big topic. You know, everybody wants to know how's nursing going and that sort of stuff. And then last but not least, the family unit. So how are we doing as a family of 4? I'm going to split this up into 2 different parts. So we're going to go over sleeping and my updates in this video. And then in part 2, we're going to go over eating and the family unit. So, okay, so let's talk about sleep. That's probably the most common thing any mom is going to hear, like leading up to when the baby is born, is, oh, just be prepared to get no sleep at all, and you're going to, you know, be a walking zombie and be walking into walls and all of these things. So, of course, whenever I see people, you know, I haven't seen in a while, they're like, oh, is he sleeping through the night yet? Well, no, he's not. In fact, my older son, Camden, did not really sleep through the night until he was almost 2. So sorry moms, if you're out there and you've just started your journey as a new mom, and everybody's like, oh, don't worry, by 6 or 8 weeks, you know, 6 months at the most, then they'll start sleeping through the night. For me, that was not the case. It was more like 2 years. And even now, he still doesn't always sleep through the night. Last night he did. He spent the whole night in his room, in his own bed. The night before, we could not even get him to go to his own room. He ended up spending the night sleeping with Dad. So, okay, so anyway, so back to Logan. How is Logan sleeping? Well, he definitely prefers to sleep on me. So he tends to sleep pretty well as long as he's being held. I'm still using the carrier quite a bit for him, especially now that I'm working. It's much easier for me to type and kind of do the things I need to do if I'm wearing him. Although we are making progress with the bassinet as well too. I mean, at this point he's almost too big for it because he has rolled over. But you know, when I put him down at night, you know, sometimes he'll make it 20 minutes, sometimes he'll make it a couple hours. But usually he ends up kind of with me. Again, he's still nursing on demand. He's still exclusively breastfed. So, you know, he definitely seeks comfort, you know, when I'm holding him, and he does nurse himself to sleep most of the time. So, you know, that is something that, you know, I know there's a lot of controversy, I guess, around like co-sleeping and making sure that there's safe sleep and all these things. We co-slept with both of our kids. So actually Dad and Camden are sleeping in a different room now. So it's really just me and baby. But you know, for me, I do it intentionally. I don't let myself get so exhausted that I just happen to pass out with the baby. For me, it's planned. So it's worked out for me. Yes, I understand the risks of suffocation. I have barely had, I think I've had 2 or 3 drinks maybe total since he's been born. So I'm definitely not heavily drinking before bed. I know that can definitely increase your risk factors for suffocation of the baby. I don't smoke, never have. So there's always these external factors that kind of make a difference about how safe co-sleeping can be. For me, again, I'm very careful about it. You know, we position him in a safe place, you know, before I fall asleep, and it's not accidental. I think that's where parents can get into trouble, is when they accidentally co-sleep, because then they're not prepared for it as far as like your space and your sleeping space. So, yeah. So at night, like I said, he usually ends up with me. And during the day, he's still contact napping quite a bit. You know, we have a nanny that started a couple weeks ago. I've got a video on that one too if you haven't checked that out. But, you know, he's sleeping with her still, although he is, I think, realizing at this point that nanny is not me. So, you know, it does take him a little bit longer to, you know, go to sleep with her. Sometimes I still nurse him to sleep, and then I hand him back off to her, and then she just kind of holds him for the rest of his nap. His wake windows are much longer now. You know, sometimes he'll be up 2 to 3 hours, you know, in the mornings, and then the evenings, it's sometimes even 4 or 5 hours. I think his longest wake window is probably in the evenings now, where he's up, probably about 5 to 8 or so, maybe somewhere around there. You know, so he's usually awake while we have dinner and while we're kind of getting everybody else sort of situated for the evening. So, yeah, that's how sleep's going. It's a struggle. I thought that this time would be different. So I told myself that, with the second baby, that it was going to be different, that I was going to, have the baby on a more strict sleep schedule. He was going to be in his bassinet more often. I would be able to put him down, get things done, do all the things. Not so much. I have to be honest with you, moms. I don't think our sleep situation is a whole lot different now than it was when he was a newborn. Other than that, there's longer wake windows. And obviously he's a little bit more predictable as far as, his sleepy cues and, what it takes to get him to sleep and how long he's going to stay asleep. But as far as, being held and nursed and worn in the baby carrier, we're pretty much in a similar state than we were, when he was a newborn, which I'm okay with because, again, they're only this tiny for such a short period of time. And I already miss, sleeping with my older kid, now that he's, in his bed more often, and even when he's not, he usually ends up napping with dad since I've got the baby. So it's a short season. Like I said, I think the most important thing is that you do it safely and that you just do what's best for you and your family. All right, so now let's talk about me, postpartum us, the moms, the ones that have been through a lot physically, when it comes to having a baby. All right. Couple different things. Hair loss. Oh my goodness. The amount of hair I am losing this time around is unreal. I experienced it a little bit with my firstborn, but nothing like I have this time. And I will say, the whole time I was pregnant, I would, brush my hair, and it had been a couple days, because I don't wash my hair every day, but I would drag the brush through and literally 1 or 2 strands, when I got out of the shower and I was brushing my hair when it was wet, and I was like, this is amazing. My hair was super thick. It was great, and now I am paying for it big time. I cannot believe how much hair it's not even usually down anymore because I'm losing so much of it. It just ends up everywhere. So yeah, the postpartum hair loss struggle is real for me this time. Yeah, and of course, one thing you want to be careful about is, it can get wrapped around babies', fingers and toes and stuff. So I'm always really careful that, I'm checking him, and anytime I change his diaper, change his clothes, that there's not strands of hair and stuff in there, because my hair is pretty long too, and I don't want it to get wrapped around or caught up in him at all. So that one I've not been loving. I've also found, and this might be a coincidence, but a whole bunch of gray hairs all up in here. So I'm really worried now that all of this hair I'm losing, it's all going to come back gray. So stay tuned. We'll see what I look like a year from now. If it's just all gray and I've just decided to dye it for the first time in my life. Yeah. I also got my hair done, just cut and kind of a treatment done on it maybe a few weeks ago. And my hairdresser pointed out this band I have growing. So I have this color block where it looks like I had my hair dyed one color and it's been growing out. And she's like, oh, it's your hormones. It happened with your first one too. So yeah, the color is super dark and then gray, and I've got this weird block that stops a few inches down in the hair loss. So I will say I think that the hair loss has slowed down no pun intended, has slowed down just a little bit. I think it peaked around 3 months, like I said, now we're 4 months postpartum. So I think we're maybe on the tail end of it, but I'm ready to stop losing my hair because I'm afraid it's going to start having bald spots coming through. So that has not been great. Weight loss. This is a big topic with a lot of moms. I know I did a video on my very, very first workout postpartum. I think I was 11 weeks at that point. And now we are almost 19 weeks. So, just over 4 months, about 19 weeks. And so I've been working out for about 7-8 weeks or so. There was a week I didn't because everybody was kind of sick and it was just not happening that week. But I've been pretty consistent, 2 or 3 times a week, which has been hard to commit to, but worth it. I'm actually within about 1 pound or 2 of what I was before I got pregnant, which I know not everybody's going to get there by 4 months, and I'm definitely not telling you that this is normal or that you should or even that it's necessarily a good thing. I'm just telling you where I'm at in case you're looking for a baseline or a comparison or hi buddy or anything else. So I do weightlifting and weight training. I do zero cardio. I mean no cardio. For me to run, something's got to be chasing me. So for me, it's all strength and weight training. It's kind of what I've always done. So it wasn't too hard for me to get back into it, other than the time aspect, just because like I already kind of knew what I was doing. But yeah, I'm back in, like I said, within a couple pounds of where I was before I got pregnant. And I was in okay shape, you know, when I got pregnant. This time around, like I said, the first time I got pregnant, I was probably the heaviest I've ever been. So I'm lower now than I was when I got pregnant with Camden, which I think is a win. But that was also COVID and a lot of staying at home and a lot of eating and maybe some adult beverages in there too. So it is what it is. But yeah, so the weight loss has been okay. You know, stomach is still not as tight maybe as it would have been, but my clothes all fit okay. I can get into them. And definitely that upper arm strength is there from carrying around kids all day long. So that's definitely a great way to tone up your biceps, even if you're not trying to. It's carrying around these little monkeys all day, every day. So yeah, weight loss has gone pretty good. Let's see. So another thing that is, I think, a big topic for moms postpartum is your hormones, postpartum depression, all that sort of stuff, the baby blues, all that sort of stuff here. I didn't suffer from it too badly, but I definitely, for the first few weeks or so after he was born, you know, around 5 or 6 o'clock at night, I would cry randomly, or I would just get really emotional for no good reason. I still have those thoughts that creep into my mind about something happening to, you know, either kid, you know, just kind of those scary mom thoughts of like, oh my gosh, what if, you know, whatever, like just crazy scenarios that would probably never happen. Not anything about me hurting them, or myself. You know, if you have those kind of postpartum depression symptoms, you know, please moms, there's resources out there, use them. You don't have to go through that alone. It is normal, but it's not something you have to handle by yourself. So I didn't have that, thankfully, but just kind of the crazy, you know, like you're walking them in the stroller and like, what if the tire on the stroller blows out and the, you know, the stroller flips over, like weird craziness as far as that's concerned. I used to have like worst case scenario stuff like that play out in my head a lot. Oh, give me my hair. See, he's helping me pull some of it out too. That's great. But yeah, so that stuff, I will say, by 4 months has calmed way down. Obviously, I still worry all of the time, and I think it's healthy for us to have a little bit of what ifs, you know, when we're out in public, especially with 2 kids, because I can't possibly have my hands and eyes on both of them every single split second of every single moment. So it's good to have like a healthy sort of fear about what's going on. Like I am especially aware of this when I'm buckling the kids into the car and I'm like bent into the car and I've got my back towards the street. You know, it's good to like be a little paranoid of every noise and turn around and make sure nobody's sneaking up behind you or anything like that. But as far as like the crazy thoughts, that's calmed way down. So that's definitely been a plus, you know, is that I think I've leveled out a little bit. I no longer have like spontaneous crying. I don't have that like, you know, rage I think that some moms get, you know, when they're pregnant or first postpartum. I'm just really angry for no reason. Yeah, which I didn't really have to begin with, but like I said, it's just kind of the, instead of being like a lot of ups and downs, it's pretty normal now. Like we're kind of back to normal life. So now what makes me rage is work and the craziness I'm dealing with my job. But that has nothing to do with you. So it's okay. So I think, yeah, so that's definitely leveled out. So overall, you know, I think as far as the sleep patterns go and kind of the mom like level set goes for 4 months, I think we're doing okay. You know, I definitely wish that we were sleeping a little bit more independently, just for the freedom to be able to get stuff done. But again, I know that this time is so short-lived, and I definitely miss him when like other people are holding him while he's napping. So I try and soak it up as much as I can too. And I know the day will come when they're not going to sleep with us anymore, and we're going to miss it too. So I'm trying to not be too hard on myself and not beat myself up. But yeah, it's funny that that's always the first thing people ask. So I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so again, those were the first 2. I'm going to wrap up this video so that way it's not too long for you guys. But Moms, make sure to subscribe so that way you can see part 2 of this, where we're going to go over, again, eating and how all of that's going, and then the family unit, so how we're doing as a family of 4. So subscribe to the channel. Make sure you get part 2 of the video. Make sure to grab my email newsletter down below as well. That's a great way just to get updates, fun articles, interest pieces, anything like that. So that information will be down below as well. And yeah, I'll see you in part 2. Bye.